been 1 year.
It's been 1 year.
It's been 84 years.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing. Everything is the same. I'm having a great time.
The last time we did this was right before your Troubadour show, so it was like the road to the Troubadour.
Yes. And now we have the road to the EP, which is exciting. There's 2 roads happening, or there was 2 roads, or there are 2 roads.
2 roads.
Thank you. Yeah. Leading up to the Troubadour, that was kind of like my discovery and rebirth. And now I feel like I've actually lived a year of that rebirth and that discovery, and it feels much more settled in who I am. So, yeah, I think this EP is going to reflect that a lot. Being able to kind of present who I've always been and who I am in a bigger capacity was kind of what that show was really about. And now I'm in a space where like I'm writing so many new things and coming out with an EP that feels like a brand new version of myself, which is nice. The EP now has some songs that are not out but have been written a while ago, but that have completely taken on like a brand new life. And then there's a ton of new songs on the EP that are just completely never heard before, never even been played before, which is really exciting. So it's nice. It's a nice mix of like nostalgia, rebirth, and completely new.
So What Women Can Do is coming out soon.
Yes.
So exciting. Let's talk for a minute. Why did you want that to be the first song?
Because it's gay! Okay, I'll do a version where I don't scream. What Women Can Do is coming out first because it needs to come out because I'm out, and it's important to me to bring my queer identity into my artistry in a very like obvious way now. And I think it's a beautiful song for this time. It's like Pride Month, and the full EP won't come out until October, so we're rolling out singles. So I just felt like June being Pride Month, this kind of being my full coming out moment, it was just the perfect single to put out right now.
You said somewhere, I don't know where, but you said somewhere. You kind of felt like that song was like a diary entry when you were writing it. So I want to talk about the lyrics of it, but also like performing it to a room full of people for the first time. Like, was that scary, it being like your personal thoughts? Did it feel like you had an audience of queer women who were like being receptive to the song? Like, what was going through you?
The first time I played that song was at the first show after the Troubadour, and I had just written it, and I had really just started dating my now girlfriend at that show, and she's right here. And also like that was around the time that I had like come out to my parents, and it was the first time I was gonna be performing a song that was like, hey guys, like this could not be more obvious that I like women. Like it was kind of scary, but it felt very empowering, and I did feel safe because of my community and my friends there. And I just, when I felt nervous or I felt like my parents were front row really staring at me and I was like, I don't know how I'm feeling, I would just like find Em in the back of the room and just like sing to her, and that felt really nice and safe. And yeah, it was a good night.
That I think about is like, it's supposed to mean something to someone somewhere. So like, what does that kind of mean to you? So because my coming out experience and my first experience with women in general felt so not a big deal, and like I'm very privileged to be able to say that, but it didn't feel like anything that wasn't supposed to be in me already. It felt natural, it felt like easy, it just felt normal and real and nothing to be surprised about. But I think we live in a society where like coming out is often a very scary and big deal, and it's not taken well, and it's like it means this like very different thing, that you are bad or different or whatever. And there was nothing in my experience that clicked that I was bad or different. It just felt like this was
who I am. And so that lyric, like, it's supposed to mean something to someone somewhere, and like coming out is supposed to be this like crazy thing and people are gonna have a lot of feelings about it, but all that I can feel is how normal and amazing that this feels. And the rest of that lyric is, it's supposed to mean something to someone somewhere, but all I can think of is how quick the air felt so much lighter with her laying there. And it was just like, I don't know what you guys are thinking, but all I'm thinking is that I feel safe and loved and like myself. And so yeah, that lyric is probably one of the most important ones of the song.
For someone who did have more of like a public platform and like you've been acting and singing and like for your whole life basically, did you have any hesitations or insecurities about opening up about your queerness, like at this point when people might have known you as one thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think because music feels like such a personal project all the time, like music is stuff that I'm in control over, that I make, I'm in control of the narrative of it. It felt really empowering to create music around being queer. I think the only thing that maybe feels or felt a little bit more nerve-wracking was the acting side of it, because you are fulfilling other characters, and I think when you get to be known as someone in a particular light, people think of you differently, even when they know that you are supposed to be able to become any character. That's your job. But I think there was a part of me that was like, okay, I need to like tell my reps, I need to tell my team that like this is a part of me, even though I shouldn't have to, because it does mean something in the industry to be a queer actor. And I think that there's a lot of positives in that, because I think we're telling more and more queer stories, and I think there's room for more queer artists and actors to like play those roles and it be authentic. But at the same time, you know, we're still in a society, in a world where media is very heteronormative. And if I'm going to take this leap and be known in my personal brand so deeply as a queer artist, will that affect how many roles I can play if that's how I'm perceived? But the same goes the other way. So I think it was a little bit of just something to think about, but I wouldn't want to have it any other way, truly. So the goal for this year, now that I've accomplished everything I've ever wanted to accomplish with the Troubadour, my goal this year is, after the release of the EP, to be able to use that momentum to like open for someone I really love, or to go on tour, whether that be opening for another band or being support for someone that I really admire, or doing like a little mini tour of our own. That's definitely something I'm looking forward to doing after the EP is dropped.
That'd be so fun. Yeah. Who are like the artists, queer artists or not, that are inspiring you right now?
I keep like going back to the fact that I want to be the perfect mix between Lizzie McAlpine and Renee Rapp. Like I want to merge those two worlds so much, and I find so much inspiration in like both of those kinds of, like that indie folky singer-songwriter girl, and then just like the pop queer icon. I just want to mix the worlds. But I would love to tour with like also just some of my icons that I've always had, like Paper Kites, Muna. Wow, can you imagine? Now I'm just daydreaming, but
we're manifesting.
Now I'm going too big.
You are her. Going back to the Troubadour one more time. The band that you're with now, that was kind of put together for the show.
Yeah. They've stuck around. That's so nice of them.
So how does it feel like going into this project, making an EP, like having those collaborators and that support? Like, were there any kind of roadblocks along the way, something you didn't anticipate? Like, what does having the support mean to you?
Yeah, I pinch myself every day having the support of that band, because I did put that band together for the Troubadour. And then we just sort of naturally started playing shows from there, because the momentum from that show just gave us more live shows, and everyone was always down. And I just kept being like, doing the group text, being like, hey, if you're free, like not expecting them to want to continue, but it's really become like our band, and I'm so grateful to them for that. And then my guitarist Jared, he also loves to produce, so I told him about the EP and the project I wanted to start, and he was like completely dedicated and ready to go head first into it. And so we started tracking some of the things that we had been working on, and brought another producer, Aaron, onto the team. And so we've been working with him like every week, and the band like fully plays on the entire EP, so there's not a single person on the tracks that hasn't been there since the Troubadour. And that means the world. I love them. They're my favorite people.
That's so special.
Yeah.
And that's so nice to have like a group to do it with.
I know. I literally can't believe how lucky I've gotten with them. Truly. Love them.
And last year, like, we talked a lot too about like finding community and like how like your platonic friendships have grown and stuff like that. So like over the past year, how have you seen your platonic friendships evolve or strengthen, especially after like coming more into yourself too?
All of my friends are in relationships now, and now I'm in a relationship, and so if anything, like my platonic friendships have grown more because we are watching each other learn about healthy queer love, like through our own experiences with our partners, and I think that's been bringing us really close. And like I've never experienced like double dates like I have that feel so like sweet and genuine, and like that kind of community has been occurring more and more, and that's something I've never been able to be a part of, especially like with women specifically. So I think like my platonic relationships have really looked like more like admiration of partnership in each other and that kind of journey and the lessons we're learning through that and like growing up, and it's like very sweet.
That is really sweet.
Yeah.
And like in your relationship, not to get sappy, but I know you
Please.
like to talk about it.
And I'll talk about it. What do you want to know?
And, like, what ways do you like feel that like this relationship like makes you feel as like comfortable and like happy as you do? Is it like excitement, a sense of peace? Like, what about it really clicked with you?
Like where do I even begin? I've never experienced a sense of calm and a sense of knowing like I have in this specific relationship. I've never felt more myself in this relationship, and I think that has obviously a large part of it is that it's a queer relationship, but I trust myself in this relationship, and I trust my own feelings, and I trust like my decisions, and I think like feeling that safety and that emotional growth has been massive for me. And I just feel like this partnership has taught me, and this has a lot to do with like how she's been able to teach me these things in our partnership, but I feel like for the first time I am a team member. Like I am a partner. There are two equal halves to this whole, and we are in this journey together. And I think I always felt a little isolated in my other relationships, and that's a personal growth thing as well, but I've never felt so like trusted and trustworthy. Now I'm blanking on what I'm talking about. But yeah, I just feel very safe, and there's a calm sense of knowing and peace that like this is meant to be. Kind of like when people are like, well, when you know, you know, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Now I get it. Yeah.
And so like in the ways that it influences like your like artistic endeavors and like writing and things like that too, like some of your last songs, or you know, like they're come from like more places of like strife or like breakups or like just reminiscing on things, and like how has like this phase of your life where you're like you're so happy, you're glowing.
I know, I'm like there's nothing bad to sing about anymore.
Not stop smiling in a year.
Well, it's funny, like one of the first songs that I wrote after like being in this relationship was called Bad Songs, because in the first line of that song is, you make me write bad songs because I'm never angry anymore. And that was kind of a tribute to that exact feeling of like, what the hell am I supposed to write about? I'm so happy. But I also think that my writing since then it dives deeper into other things. Like we don't always talk about love or relationships in songs, and I think like there is so much more to be said about growth and about discovery and self-evolvement in my songs, and also like platonic friendship and love for other people. And I think that I've always kind of been able to fill my artistry with those things, which I'm happy about. It feels like there's always been a balance, but yeah, you're right. I am happy, and it does take a toll on the artistic journey.
In a good way.
In a good
For the
way.
sake of your mental health.
Yeah.
And so kind of just thinking about like I don't know, maybe like messages outward and stuff. I feel like something we've like talked about before is like people who know they're queer from a young age and kind of grow up with that, and then people who like discover things about themselves later or like open up to more parts of themselves later. And I think there's that's a really exciting thing to like come into those things later in life, because then it just means like you can always grow and you can always evolve. And like if you think something isn't an opportunity or like you're not content with the way things are, it's like you never know what's gonna like when a door's gonna open up and like when you're gonna enter a new phase of life. So I think that's actually like, you know, really exciting for like it not always to be like I know everything from birth.
Yeah.
So like
I'm going through some of that right now for sure. Yeah.
So do you like, has anything about like your journey that like you would want to this Pride Month share to the masses, share to the children?
The children need to learn. Love is love. Something that I'm actively working on in like the past year has really taught me is like the narratives that we create for ourselves are so strong in us because they make us who we are, and a lot of them are there because they make us happy, and a lot of them are there to keep us safe from trauma or things that, you know, we need to be safe from. But a lot of narratives are things that are kind of in the back of our heads that we don't always think about, and it can manifest in like how we react to things or how we treat people or how we talk about ourselves, and they kind of go unnoticed because it's just kind of behavioral. And so I think something that I've been unlearning as I've, you know, been changing, you know, how I interact with romantic relationships and friendships and boundaries and like self-love is that we are always safe to change those narratives. And if we actually dig and find out like where they came from, then they can be a really beautiful shift in our personal lives and can create room for more love. And I think that if you continue to choose love over fear, then anything that you're afraid of can like really be beautiful. And it may take time, and it's okay to take time, and that's what I want to tell the people, is that it's okay to take your time.
I love that. Hannah said it first. Take your time.
I am the first to say it. Thanks, Annie.
Said it here first. Anything else you want to share about what you're working on? It is your road to the EP right now. Like
the road to the EP.
Tell us more.
Yes, so the EP will come out fully in October as a birthday present to myself because I love my birthday. But the first single comes out June 21st.
When does it come out?
The first single comes out June 21st. Happy Pride. And then the second single will come out probably August, September. And then the full thing October. Pride Month, we've got a couple shows coming up, so stay tuned on my Instagram. The personal plugs really get to me.